With Bitcoin almost going back to all-time highs, everyone is expecting to see new all-time highs still by this month. So we're going to look at the charts and see if that is indeed going to happen or not. We're also going to look at our positions, our copy trading, and the current state of the market. So let's jump right into it. So folks, welcome back to Bitopics. Let's start by looking at the price of our crypto. So we have Bitcoin currently at 106,629. We have Ethereum at 2,550. We have XRP at 235 and BNB 654. Solana back almost at 170. So very good numbers for us right here. And also on the copy trading as well, very good numbers. Currently at 2.15 for the month of May. Of course, all of us wanted a little bit more, but we had losses and we had days where it was better not to trade because the market was crazy, was all over the place. It was better just to take the dub, make what we could make without risking a lot of money. So by going to options, we can see what we have open so far. The Bitcoin one actually now is above the 100% at 109.8. We also have the Ethereum one that I mentioned before. These two are leaps, and the Ethereum one is at 61.96. If Ethereum goes back above 2800, this should give this call a little bit of an intrinsic value and raise the amount of money, which should lower our P&L by quite a lot. And then right here, we have our put spread that we just opened. I just opened before recording this video, 2,350 put. So it means that I sold at 2,400 and I bought at 2,350. And that creates a bullish put spread that I'm making around 0.23, 0.24% on the day, which is a little below the threshold. I also had some losses and I want to keep doing at least the minimum, running the lowest risk that I can just to get some capital back in, and then we can get a little bit riskier once again. So let's switch to our charts. If you go right here to Bitcoin, you can see that I marked it with this white line right here, so we can see a huge pattern that we've been following since the beginning of April. We started right here and we're following a very strong trend line right here. We tested it on May 6th and now we tested it again on May 19th, and most likely, if we test it again, we should be looking at over the $110,000 for Bitcoin, which would be a new all-time high. So I'm confident that this will hold strong because it has already in the past. If we switch to the daily, you can see it way more clear right here. Unfortunately for us, right now we are on the overbought part of the RSI. So most likely in the next hours, we should be seeing the price of Bitcoin slowing down or just pumping the last push and then coasting for a little while. So for Bitcoin, this is it. Looking at the 4-hour charts, we are above the moving averages, so the 9 moving average. We also have the trend line right here that if we just keep falling, we're gonna test it at around 104,700. If we keep just coasting, maybe we're gonna see it at the 106, 105,500. But hopefully we test the moving average and we bounce back up, going towards the all-time high for Bitcoin. On Ethereum, we're also following a trend line, but it is way shorter than the Bitcoin one, which goes all the way to early April. Switching to the 1-hour chart, you can see that the bottom that we had on May 19th, we tested it again. If we trace a line all the way to yesterday's dip that we had, we can trace a line and hopefully this is gonna act like a support right here. We are below the 9 moving average, but we are above the 100 moving average and the 200 moving average. So these should hold the price itself of Ethereum for a little bit. On the 4 hours, you can see it a little bit better right here. If we're gonna test this line at the 2515, 2500 here for Ethereum. But if we switch to the daily, you see that we have the moving average, the 9 moving average right below our current price. So that should hold us for a little while. And also the RSI is back below the overbought. So we could see a pump in price for Ethereum, maybe going back towards the 2700, 2800, who knows? We have to wait and see, wait for some volume right here as well. So because of this trend line right here and the moving averages being close to the current price, this is why I chose to sell a put spread around the 2400. So right around here, this is the strike more or less of what I chose to sell. If it stays above this current price right here, this imaginary line, then I would be profitable. And it seems seems like we're gonna be profitable. Hopefully so, we're able to stay inside this range, and if we break the range, hopefully it is above and not below. And this is why I sold this one right here that I just showed you, the 2400 2350. But now switching to Solana, Solana is also presenting this pattern right here, this trend line, and we tested it 3 times already. So we started right here on May 19th, then still on May 19th we tested it yesterday, and early this morning we tested it once again. So it is holding, it is pretty strong right here. We have to wait and see how Bitcoin should be pushing, and if it will push these currencies back to the upper part of this range right here instead of the lower part of the range. If I were to sell a spread here on Solana, I would either go very safe somewhere around right here, the 180s for a call spread, or I would go very safe around the 162, 160 for a put spread, because I don't think we're going to be coming down this much for anytime soon. So this is what I would sell. If we go to Bitcoin, most likely going back to the 4 hours, most likely I'll be looking somewhere close to the line right here. So maybe the 104, maybe the 104 500, who knows. This would be pretty much what I would go for if I was selling a put spread on Bitcoin. If we look at the volatility for Ethereum for the past few days, it has been going up, especially if you look at the money 7 days. So the average for the 7 days has gone up. We touched all the way to 80% on Ethereum, and on Bitcoin, this 7-day volatility is coming up from a bottom of 35%. We're going up to a 42%. This means better premiums. If you're gonna sell, it is way better to sell at a higher implied volatility and wait for the IV to fall. This will drive the prices itself of the premium. In April, we actually touched a 50% IV on Bitcoin, and then after that, we lost some momentum and we coasted around the 40 to 45 more or less. Then we dipped below the 40s to the high 30s, and now we're going back above the 40s. So premiums for Bitcoin options should be way better than they were a few days ago. So hopefully we do end up seeing Bitcoin going back to all-time highs. This should bring a huge momentum on cryptocurrencies. Of course, altcoins always tend to be late to the party. So when Bitcoin is rallying, it is Bitcoin season. So just Bitcoin is the one that pushes. When Bitcoin starts to coast a little bit, so it slows down, it loses momentum, that momentum gets shifted towards altcoins, and this is when altcoins start moving, and we see low market cap, mid market cap, and high market caps all bouncing 10, 15, 30, 40% in a matter of days, or sometimes even hours, like we saw, for example, for Sui or Avalanche or others that had like 40, 50, 60% spike when Bitcoin had its push, then it slowed down, and then this momentum shifted towards altcoins. So if that is indeed the case for Bitcoin, once Bitcoin slows down, maybe it reaches all-time high and then it slows down, we should see altcoins picking up all the force left by Bitcoin. So hopefully that is what happens. Hopefully we win on all of our options from now on. But I want to know, what are you doing in this type of market, in this type of situation? Let me know down in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.